Hey everybody. Back for the Thursday night stream. A little bit later than usual. I'm gonna get this volume sorted. Right, how's that? Is that better? Coming through okay now? I swear this thing adjusts itself. Up there-ish? Is that good? So we're playing Persona 3. Doing the FES version. This came out on PS2 a lot later than you think it did, actually. I forget when. 2007, maybe? Licensed to and published by Koei because Atlas, even now, doesn't have a European publishing branch. So we have to hope somebody else will... Okay, so 2 modes, Journey and Answer. Okay, you just quit me out of that. Okay, so Journey and Answer. Journey's the main game that was in the original version. The Answer was added for this. It's kind of an epilogue game. Okay, so let's see. Auto advance on. So auto advance voiced messages during events. That way, that should give you enough time to read whatever's actually going on. So Persona 3 is a game I really enjoy. I think FES had difficulty settings. Let's take a look at what was added over the original version. Several new personas, as well as a special social link. Interaction with other Persona users, as well as social links, have been enriched. That means there's more events in the school calendar over the original. Combat's been enhanced with an optional hard mode. New weapon fusion. New requests that can be undertaken in the Velvet Room. Other enhancements for experienced players to enjoy. So there really is no reason for you to go with the original version over this one. Whether you want to go with this or portable is down to personal choice. They both have their strong points and their weaknesses. Registered personas in the compendium, known fusion spell combinations, academic charm and courage. Really wish they were doing this with Persona 5 Royal, but it doesn't look like they will be, which is incredibly disappointing, because I really don't have to get my social stats up again. Items again for social links. I don't actually have original Persona 3 data. Yes. Normal, easy, and hard. Now, this is a Shin Megami Tensei game. It's a spin-off, yes, but it's a Megaten game. So normal is actually not easy. Which sounds incredibly stupid when I say that out loud. Normal will give you a serious challenge. Hard is for people who really know what they're doing. Easy, if you're new to the series, easy is probably what you want to go for. Persona 3 Portable added a few more difficulty modes, like had an easier mode than that and a harder mode, and I think like an even harder mode after that. But we're going to do normal. Experienced gamers be able to enjoy a normal challenge of battle, which requires a certain degree of strategy. Setting cannot be changed without restarting the game. So let's go. time never waits. It delivers all equally to the same end. You who wish to safeguard the future, however limited it may be, you'll be given 1 year. Go forth without falter, with your heart as your guide. So Persona 3 started a lot of trends that the series continued with 4 and 5. The 1 year time limit of the game, the social links, the way personas worked, with only the main character being able to switch personas, the school life, the calendar system. Persona 1 and 2 had you as a high school student, but there wasn't really a focus on the school life.
Are you serious? You didn't know? You're an idiot.
Persona 3, I think, also has a somewhat different style to its animation. There's less shading, I think, is probably the best way to put it. Is less use of shadows, and thus the shadows that are there become more stark in their appearance. I don't know, it's difficult to put into words. I'm not an artist or an animator. Burn My Dread being the primary theme of this game. Hey Bane, how you doing tonight?
Yeah.
Attention passengers. We sincerely apologize.
Unfortunately, there will be no stealing of cars in this game.
You got to let it move first, let it out. Let's get it up. Then what you gonna do is
I love Burn My Dread as a theme.
The final train bound for Tatsumi Port Island. Please make sure you board in time for departure. Iwa Todai. Iwa Todai.
It's been a while since I've done FES actually. So at this point I'm more used to portable, so this will be interesting. Portable doesn't actually have these anime cutscenes, which means like the game loses a lot of its atmosphere. Because this just doesn't come across the same way in the PSP version. So begins the new life of high school.
You're late. I've been waiting a long time for you.
This game is on your
Now,
list, huh?
if you want to proceed, please sign your name there. It's a contract. Don't worry. All it says is that you'll accept full responsibility for your actions. You know, the usual stuff.
So, FES and Portable have several major differences. We'll get into as we go. The primary difference at the minute is the lack of anime cutscenes. The story in Portable progresses in a very visual novel style. And it works. I just don't think it's as effective as the cutscenes. But make no mistake, Portable is totally fine.
No one can escape time. It delivers us all to the same end. You can't plug your ears and cover your eyes. And so it begins.
Who's there? Takeba, wait!
No soul, robust, robust, beat bust justice to the man with no life.
So is there a reason you girls have guns?
I didn't think you'd arrive so late. My name is Mitsuru Kirijo. I'm one of the students who live in the storm.
Who's he?
He's a transfer student. It was a last-minute decision to assign him here. He'll eventually be moved to a room in the boys' dorm.
Is it okay for him to be here?
I guess we'll
Yeah, there's
see.
plenty of time in later games for stuff like that,
This is
Bane.
Yukari Takeba. She'll be a junior this spring, just like you.
So Persona is a series I do highly recommend. Why do you have a gun?
Huh? Well, it's sorta like a hobby.
It's a hobby
Well,
to carry
not
guns.
A hobby, but
You know how it is these days. It's for self-defense. It's not a real gun, of course. It's getting late, so you should get some rest.
Okay, I don't
Your
buy
room's
it,
on the
but
second
okay.
floor at the end of the hallway. Your things should
So yeah,
already be there.
the Persona games are a series I do highly recommend.
I'll
However,
show you the way. Follow me.
like 3, 4, and 5 in particular are long games.
This is it. Pretty easy to remember, huh? Since it's right at the end of the hall. Oh yeah, make sure you don't lose your key, or you'll never hear the end of it. So,
Okay.
any questions?
Yeah, why do you have a gun?
What kid? What are you talking about?
So you do
Come on,
get
it's not
to
funny.
make a lot of your own choices in the conversations and how you define your character. Ultimately, you are moving towards the same end.
On your way here from the station.
It helps
everything okay?
helps you feel like you have a personality in the game. Yeah, what do you mean?
You know what I... Never mind. It seems like you're all right. Well, I better get going.
Alright,
I'm sure you still have other questions, but let's save them for later, okay? Good night.
okay. I should probably lock my door just to be safe. First day of school.
It's Yukari. Are you awake?
What's up, Yukari?
Good morning. Did you sleep okay?
No, I was terrified somebody would break into my room with a gun.
Mitsuru Senpai asked me to take you to school. It's getting late, so... Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, then let's go.
So this game is voiced in English, but does have the whole Japanese honorifics system going on, which
So,
I think is a big... I don't know.
I got it.
Not much, man. Yo, ready for this? What a slacker.
All I did was
Morning. Good morning.
Trying out for science.
Well, this is it. We're here. Welcome to GeckoCon High School. Hope you like it.
What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying now. Thanks, Yukari.
You should go see your homeroom teacher first. The faculty office is right there to the left.
Oh yeah, the Japanese honorific system.
Do you have any questions before I go?
I think the whole idea is to, like, half the game is a dungeon crawl, the other half is social simulation in Japanese high school, and I think a big part of the point is Japanese high school. So the honorific system is a big part of the culture there. You could try and do what they did in the earlier days of gaming in anime, and pretend that it's not Japan, like Yu-Gi-Oh did, where the 4Kids tried to pretend it was America. But you've got a bunch of weird stuff that be going on, like your shoe lockers, and you could probably edit this. And the uniforms, a little weird, stuff like that. So as we go on with this, gonna be some stuff that we'll mention, particularly the gameplay and the social links, stuff as it comes up, really. Can't find my name. Small note with my name on it. Class F. Cool, but I should go to the faculty office anyway. Okay. This whole overworld sequence, because this is technically the overworld, in the PSP version is a map that you navigate over with a cursor. That's the library. Is this the faculty office? The faculty office. Been a while since I played Persona 3. It's been even longer since I played FES, so getting around actually in the game is a little different now. So it's a little weirder.
Are you the new student? 11th grade, correct? Wow, you've lived in a lot of different places. Let's see. In 1999, that was what, 10 years ago? Your parents... I'm sorry. I've been so busy I didn't have time to read this beforehand. I'm Miss Toriumi. I teach composition.
Oh, don't worry, I already did that. I'm fully qualified for the DOLET exam.
Wow, such enthusiasm. Have you seen the classroom assignments? You're in 2F. That's my class. But first, we need to go to the auditorium. The welcoming ceremony will be starting soon. Follow me.
As you begin the new school year, remember the proverb,
don't do drugs.
"The job's worth
Winners
doing
don't do
is
drugs.
worth doing well." When applied to
Also, the Mortal Kombat arcade machine in my office is not for recreational use.
Psst, hey,
What do you want?
you came to school with Yukari this morning, right? I saw you two walking together. Hey, I have a question.
This really is a good
Do you
example
know
of
if she has a boyfriend? I see. I thought you might
the whole
know,
main
but
character in
guess
an
not.
anime thing, how
So
basically
how well
everybody
do you
on
know
this
her?
screen has brown or black hair, and then the main character has blue hair.
I believe it's someone in Ms. Toriumi's class.
Shh, be quiet. You're going to get me in trouble.
So what I like about Personas 3 through 5 is the calendar system. With the game constantly progressing, you can never get stuck by not knowing what to do because time's constantly progressing.
How's it going?
What do you want?
Oh,
You
come
weirdo.
on. Let me introduce myself at least.
I immediately do not like you.
Nice to meet you. I transferred here when I was in 8th grade. I know how tough it is being the new kid. So wanted to say, hey, see what a nice guy I am?
Yeah, that's cool, go away.
Hey, it's Yucatan. I didn't think we'd be in the same class again.
At it again, huh? I swear you'll talk to anyone if they'll listen. Did you ever think you might be bothering someone?
What? But I was just being friendly.
If you say so.
Hmm.
Anyway, it looks like we're in the same homeroom.
How convenient. It must be fate.
Fate? Yeah, right. Still, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, who'd have thought that of all the classes in the second year that
Forgetting that I'm in this class
we'd end up
too.
in the same class. I mean, there's what, like 3 classes in the second year?
School together this morning. What's up with that? Come on, give me the dirt.
What are you talking about? We live in the same dorm. There's nothing going on, okay? Why are people
Yeah,
even
idiot.
talking about it? Now you have me worried. Hey, you didn't say anything to anyone about, you know what, did you?
What, you mean your gun hobby?
Okay, good. Seriously, don't say anything about last night, alright?
Meh.
What?
Last night?
Wait a minute! Don't get the wrong idea! Listen! I just met him yesterday, and there's absolutely nothing between us. Jeez. I gotta go. I've got something to take care of for the archery team. But you better not start any rumors.
Who cares? No one takes rumors seriously anyway. She's so paranoid. But hey, it's your first day here and people are already talking about you.
It's my first
Believe it
day.
or not, she's actually pretty popular. You the man.
No, she's talking about the whole thing last night where the power went off and she had a gun. I'm not supposed to talk about it. So, some of the Persona games do have something of a slow start. 3, 4, and 5 all take the time to introduce you to the concepts bit by bit. The characters, the main idea of everything that's going on. I think 4 takes the longest. 3 doesn't take too long. And 5 kind of...
Welcome back.
it moves along at a quicker pace to begin with. It's just very stop and start. Save my game. Let's see this. Yeah, I can overwrite that. So you can get Persona 3 FES on, it's a PS2 game, you can get it on PS2, not that difficult to pick up. You can also get it on PS3 as a PS2 classic, and it works. It's not like a lot of the other PS2 classics that just straight up don't work properly. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah, I'm just looking around. Okay, now 2 people have told me I don't want to go to bed now. Go back out. So yeah, it's like I don't know if I mentioned it, but yeah, that's going to be your problem. If you're after a physical version of the PSP game, it'd be pretty pricey. I think. Oh, that's wonderful. I have nothing to do with that condition right now. I think most of your in-box copies are going to be like the special edition of it. They have like a really nice box and stuff. And I think the box was cardboard, like the game. You have the game case in a cardboard box. So there's that.
I'm going out for a bit.
If you're after just playing it, I'd recommend trying to pick up. Just grab the digital version.
The newspaper? There's a lot going on.
As I said, like you can pick this up on the PS3, and unlike say Digital Devil Saga, which had sound lag issues, this plays mostly fine.
They say it's due to stress.
It's ridiculous that they
Yeah, right. It has to be them.
that they sell some of those PS2 classics, considering how poorly they work.
You have a one-track mind. Will you be okay on your own? The chairman will be here for the next few days, but after that, I can...
Don't worry, I'm just getting a little practice.
This isn't a game, Akihiko.
So there's some strange stuff going on with this dorm. Sit and stare at walls all day. Must be that apathy syndrome Mitsuru Senpai mentioned last night. It's worth paying attention in class, because a bunch of this stuff will come up on exams. It's worth getting these right when you're asked, because you could get one wrong to try and screw with him, but you get it right. There you go. Charm's increased. And if the teacher asks you directly, I think your knowledge will go up a little bit rather than charm. But they're not random events, they happen on specific days. It's kind of like one of the things I really like Majora's Mask for, the calendar system. The 3-day cycle means people always have something to do on days. And the same is true with this game. Every day, somebody has something they're doing. They might be busy, they might be free, but they'll always be doing that thing on that day. Every playthrough, it's not randomized. Guys, did you know we have ghost doors?
He's back.
So, this is our new guest. Good evening. My name is Shuji Ikutsuki. I'm the chairman of the board for your school. Ikutsuki.
Okay.
Hard to say, isn't it? That's why I
Not
don't like
particular.
introducing myself. Even I get tongue-tied sometimes. Please, have a seat. I apologize about the confusion regarding your accommodations. However, it may take a while longer before you receive the proper room assignment. Is there anything you'd like to ask?
Yeah, why did the chairman of the school board come to tell me this?
To welcome you, of course. Well, to be honest, I do have other business here.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, where's Mitsuru, Yukari?
She's upstairs.
As diligent as always, although it doesn't hurt to come down and say hello. Is there anything else? There were only 4 students in this dorm.
Really? It's a big building.
Yukari here, Mitsuru, and a senior named Akihiko Sanada. I hope you all get along.
I mean, this place is like
Any other
3
questions?
floors, 4 floors.
You saw something strange. Like what? You were probably just tired. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I was just seeing things when I saw that everybody in this dorm seemed to have a gun.
Do you have another question?
Are you local? This is a local dorm for local people. There's nothing for you here. Yeah, I'm good.
Then I hope you have a successful school year. Now, if you'll excuse me.
So the big theme of this game, as you might have guessed so
You
far,
must be tired from
like
all
the opening
excitement.
really does hammer
You
it
should
home,
go to
but you'll
bed
probably
early.
forget that as we go forward.
As they say, the early bird catches the bookworm. Please
The
forgive me,
main
Mark.
theme of the game is Memento Mori. 3, 4, and 5 all have themes they're doing. 4 is Search for Truth, and 5 is Breaking Free of Society's Shackles. This one is Memento Mori, and it will become important as we go through the game, but you'll probably forget that because this game is a long game. Like I say, I'm not sure if we're going to do this entire game.
Working hard?
We'll see.
So, how's he doing?
Eventually. But I'm not sure if we're going to continue past this session. Similar with Skies of Arcadia. Still unsure about whether or not to go back to Skies of Arcadia.
Do you think
We'll see.
Well, let's wait and see for now. The dark hour is approaching.
The dark hour. The dark hour approaches.
That was the Bayside Rockers. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to tune in again next week. KJ out.
Totally.
The preceding program was brought to you by Carricho Electronics, bringing you the future. At the sound of the tone, the time will be 12 o'clock a.m.
Well, that was horrific.
He's still sleeping. The dark hour occurs every day at 12 midnight. You could say it's the hidden hour. During this time, an ordinary person transmogrifies into a coffin and is oblivious to all that occurs.
So it's great for me that you're explaining
Then
this,
he
but
must be.
they should both already
As
know
you can
this.
see, he's retained his human form. He's asleep, but he's definitely experiencing the dark hour. The only
Sweet, an
question
extra
that
hour of
remains
sleep.
is whether or not he has the potential. Although, he must. If he didn't, they would have preyed on him by now.
Scary.
In any case, we should continue to monitor him for a few more days.
So imagine you
Yes,
would
sir.
work a night shift and you experience the
I
dark
feel
hour.
kinda bad, though,
Where you just got like an
spying on
hour
him
where
like
you
this.
can't really do anything. It's like you can't really go home though because, you know, as soon as The Dark Hour ends, bam, everything's back to normal.
Welcome to the Velvet Room, my dear young man. My name is Igor. I am delighted to make your acquaintance. This is Elizabeth. She's a resident here, like myself.
Cool.
Pleased to meet you.
There's actually a weird thing with this, because Igor appeared in Persona 1 and both parts of Persona 2.
And matter.
But the other residents of the Velvet Room that appeared in those games don't reappear. How did you get this?
Those who have signed the contract can enter this place. Henceforth, you shall be welcome here in the Velvet Room. You are destined to hone your unique ability, and you will require my help to do so. I only ask one thing in return.
Nah, this guy's a lot friendlier.
That you abide by the contract and assume responsibility for the choices you make. Precisely. You are fast asleep in the real world as we speak. This visit of yours is merely a dream.
So, in Persona 1 and Persona 2, there
You will come
were
here of your own accord.
other
Soon.
characters in the Velvet Room. Persona 2 actually had 3 other characters, while Persona 1 had 2. There was Nameless, who played the piano, Belladonna, who sang, and in Persona 2 there was the guy who painted the Persona cards. None of them have returned since Persona 2, even though the piano can still be heard, as can Belladonna singing. What a weird dream. Yeah, well. What do you want? We're not friends. I could ask for you to leave me alone. No, I don't. You're not my friend. Go away. Weirdo. Okay. Classic Japanese literature. So here's a cool thing as well. Every now and then, a lecture will be boring, and you'll have the opportunity to go to sleep or stay awake. Both have benefits. If you go to sleep, chances are, if you were sick, no, it's not if you were sick, if you were tired, you'll recover and go back to good. But if you're normal, I think you have a chance of going to great, which is good. If you stay awake, you can, I think you get extra knowledge for it. There we go, the academics increased. So like both have a good effect. Really just need to be aware of monitoring your condition. And you won't know this till later, but a lot of the characters in the background are actually important characters for social links. Or the story. And it's been that way for I think the last 3 days we've walked home.
How is he?
The same as last night.
It's weird that you have cameras in my room and you're watching me.
Very interesting. Even those who have the potential tend to be unstable at first. Memory loss, disorientation. But this subject is rather unique. He hasn't exhibited any of the common symptoms.
But we're treating him like a guinea pig.
You're also watching me while I'm asleep. It's weird.
Understand your concern, but it's imperative that we recruit new members. I heard he's your classmate. Wouldn't you be more comfortable working with someone from the same grade?
Yeah, I guess. But still.
Command room. Is that you, Akihiko?
You're not gonna believe this. This thing is huge. Unfortunately,
what's going on?
I don't have time to talk. It's chasing me. I wanted to let you guys know. I'm almost there.
Does that mean he's bringing that thing here?
Huh.
Mr. Chairman, let's suspend our observation for now. We'll prepare for battle.
Right. Be careful.
Bring out your guns. Bring out your guns.
Akihiko!
Senpai!
I'm all right.
Senpai is an
Get ready to be
honorific,
surprised.
essentially
It'll be here
meaning
any
upperclassman.
This is no time to joke around.
It's one of them, Akihiko?
Yes, but not an ordinary one.
It's a big one.
Ah! What the? You've got to be kidding me!
Mr. Chairman, please head for the command room. Takiba, go upstairs and wake him up. Then escape out the back.
But what about you two?
Vanessa, you told me what was going on.
We'll stop it here. You led it to us, Akihiko, so I'm afraid you'll have to fight.
Like I had a choice. What are you waiting for, Yukari? Go!
I'm going!
Someone's banging at the door. It's a good thing I put my school uniform back on.
Sorry, I'm coming in!
Did you just unlock my door?
I don't have time to explain. We have to get out of here now!
Okay. I mean, you've got a gun, so I'm
Hurry,
probably not in my best interest to argue.
Back door. Wait! Take this, just in case. Okay, let's go.
You brought a sword to a gunfight?
Alright, we should be safe now.
Takiba, do you read me?
Yes, I hear you.
Be careful. There's more than one enemy. The one we're fighting isn't the one Akihiko saw.
What?
Oh, that's not good. Is it gonna break down the door?
Let's pull back.
Well, we gotta run, don't we? Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to bed. upstairs. The hell was that?
What was that? It's getting closer. Keep moving, hurry!
Okay. You wanna go out into the roof?
I think we're okay for now.
Okay. Why is the roof covered in blood?
What?
You know, that's a good shot. The one hand, and then all the other hands coming up again as well. That's good. That's creepy.
Those monsters. We call them shadows.
Go on.
There.
Wait.
You know, I think I got this.
Persona.
Thou art I, and I am thou. From the sea of thy soul I cometh. I am Orpheus, master of strings.
As we suspected.
Oh, no, that's not supposed to happen. Thanatos.
What on earth is that?
So this is Orpheus. This is our main persona.
Is it over?
Not yet. Do it. Finish him. Level up. Also, level up. So you don't actually have stats of your own in Persona. Your stats are determined by your persona. Weaknesses.
Are you okay?
No, I'm dead.
Come on. Say something.
Are you all right?
Can you hear me? Please. Answer me.
Meanwhile, in the Velvet Room.
It's so nice to see you again.
Yeah, how you doing,
became
Hugo?
unconscious after awakening to your power. It's
Oh, that's a
nothing
shame.
to worry about, though.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Just relax. By
Alright.
the way, I see that it was Orpheus that heeded your calling. That power is called a persona. It is a manifestation of your psyche. It may
Persona?
take some time to fully comprehend. A persona is a facet of your personality that surfaces as you react to external stimuli. You can think of it as a mask that protects you as you brave many hardships. That being said, your power is still weak. When you use your persona ability, you must channel your inner strength. The ability evolves as you develop your social links, your emotional ties with others. The stronger your social links, the more powerful your persona ability.
So this is the entire reason to do social links.
Now then,
We'll get into it more as we progress.
I shouldn't keep you here any longer. Next time we meet, you will come
But
here of your
generally,
own accord.
increasing your social link ranks is well worth it.
Farewell.
You're awake.
What's up, Yukara?
How do you feel? Thank goodness you finally came to. How much sleep do you need? It's been a whole week.
Well, I'm sorry, it was exhausting saving you.
Oh yeah, this is Tatsumi Memorial Hospital. It's just a short walk from the station. The doctor couldn't find anything wrong with you. He said you were just exhausted. But you kept sleeping and sleeping. You know how worried I was? I'm sorry I couldn't do anything. Even though I was supposed to protect you, But your power, it was amazing. The power you used.
That's a good question.
Persona. And those creatures you defeated are shadows. Our enemy. We'll explain everything later. I'm sorry I didn't tell you before. I wanted to tell you that I'm sort of like you. My dad died in an accident when I was little. My mom and I aren't exactly on good terms. You're all alone too, right? To be honest, I already know about your past. But it didn't seem fair, so I wanted you to know about mine.
Okay.
It was back in '99. There was a big explosion in the area. Supposedly, my dad died in the blast, but nobody really knows what happened. He was working in a lab run by the Kirijo group. So, I'm hoping that if I stick around long enough, I'll find out something.
You mean like Mitsuru Kirijo?
Bakugan High, and why I was there when this happened to you. Of course, I panicked and wasn't much help. It was my first time fighting them too. I'm sorry. You wouldn't have to go through all this if I wasn't such a coward. Really? But still.
Yeah, I mean, did you see how metal it was? It was terrifying.
Wake up. While I was waiting, I thought to myself, I've been hiding so many things from him. As soon as he wakes up, I'll tell him the truth. So, thanks for listening. I've been wanting to share that story with someone for a long time.
The hospital's actually not a location you ever get to explore.
All right, I'm gonna get going. I'll let the others know you woke up. Take it easy, okay?
There are several locations you do get to explore. Like you can go throughout the dormitory, you can look through the school, the strip mall, the actual mall, the train station. But stuff like the hospital only exists for cutscenes and social links. Yeah, we were gone for like a week. So that's like a week of our calendar gone. Okay. What class do we have now? See, this is something that you can either guess or just know because it's never actually... it's not stated before this. So that was wrong. So we don't get anything for that, and also he didn't tell us what the right answer was. So that's helpful, because that's probably going to come up on the exams. So this is a Paolina Mall. Fourth floor. Let's save it. Personas 3, 4, and 5 all have a primary colour that a lot of the interface is based around. Yeah, it's mostly just interface. In 3 it's blue, in 4 it's yellow, in 5 it's red. Yeah, let's go to the 4th floor. So one of the biggest benefits of Persona 3 Portable is it has a bunch of quality of life improvements from Persona 4. One of them is if you press square, you can basically walk between a bunch of different areas that are connected to the area you're currently in. In 3 FES, you can't do that. You have to actually navigate properly.
Ah, there you are.
Yep,
I'm glad
here I
that
am.
you're okay. The reason I asked you here is because I needed to talk to you.
Okay.
Please, have a seat.
Okay.
Oh, before that, I believe I mentioned him earlier, but this is Akihiko.
How you doing?
How do you do? I saw the girls flirting around you
Let me
before.
start off by asking you this. Would you believe me if I said that a day consists of more than 24 hours?
Yeah, isn't it like 24 and a bit, and that's how we end up with leap years? To consolidate all that extra time that's built up into a single day.
However, you've already experienced this truth firsthand. Do you remember the night you came here? You had to have noticed the signs.
Wait, you mean the giant coffins in the street?
Nothing was working. There were coffins everywhere. Didn't it feel like you were in a different time? That's the dark hour, a time period hidden between one day and the next.
Hidden?
I guess it's more like something people aren't aware of. But the dark hour does exist. It occurs each night at midnight. It'll happen tonight and every night to come.
It sounds like a great idea for a
Normal
conspiracy
people don't
theory.
realize it, since they're all sleeping inside their coffins. But that's not what makes the dark hour so interesting.
Really, people turning into coffins doesn't make the dark hour interesting.
We call them shadows. They only appear during the dark hour and attack anyone not in a coffin. It's our job to defeat them. Sounds exciting, huh?
Akihiko, why are you always like that? You just got hurt the other day.
Now. He does his work well. Long story short, we're the Specialized Extracurricular Execution Squad, SEAS for short. On paper, we're classified as a school club, but in reality, this group is dedicated to defeating the shadows. Mitsuru is the leader. I'm the club advisor.
You don't want it in Death
A
Fix.
shadow feeds on the mind of its prey. The victim becomes a living corpse. They're responsible for most of the incidents on the news, if not all of them.
What, you mean like the lizard people?
Unfortunately, the police can't do anything during the dark hour.
Although rare, there are those who can function during the dark hour. Some may even awaken to a power that enables them to fight the shadows. That's Persona, the power you used the other night. The shadows can only be defeated by Persona users. Which means it's all up to you guys.
What he's trying to say is, we want you to join us. We've prepared an evoker for you. We'd like you to lend us your strength.
Oh, sweet, I got my own gun.
Don't think too much. Just hang out with us for a while.
Please, we need your help.
Wait, you can't ask him like that. Who could say no? I mean, it'd be nice if he joined, but...
Yeah, alright. For now.
Thank you.
As long as I get to keep
If
the
you
gun.
have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, why do we have guns?
Thank you so much. I'm really glad. Oh, I almost forgot. About your room assignment. Why don't you just stay here in your current?
It was actually because like this game wasn't a huge seller. Because if it was, you would have heard some kind of controversy over it. But it was actually kind of a joke amongst people who played it that this game didn't have any kind of controversy over it. Because the characters summon their persona by shooting themselves with the guns. With the evokers. It's not like real guns, but they're effectively mimicking the act of shooting themselves in the head. But it never got any kind of attention from anybody. So it became kind of a joke amongst people who played it. And it was kind of funny. So this is our first new social link. So this is a social link that will actually level up as we go through the game. A lot of the social links are actually optional and you have to level them up yourself.
Hi, how are you?
So is the lock on my door just for show?
I'm always with you. Soon, the end will come. I remembered, so I thought I should tell you.
Okay.
The end of everything.
You mean the end of the world as we know it?
What it is.
But I'm feeling fine.
Oh, looks like you've awakened to your power. And an unusual power it is. A power that takes many forms, yet is bound by none. It may prove to be your salvation, depending on where you end up. Do you remember when we first met?
Teleport, it's rude.
I expect you to honor your commitment. I'll be watching you, even if you forget about me. Okay then, see you later.
Yeah, you probably will forget about that character because it's going to be a while before he shows up again. And like a lot's going to happen before he shows up again, so you probably forget about him by the time he turns up again. The next day... Sunday's the day off in Japan. Ain't no school on a Sunday.
Hey, it's me. Can you come down here?
You're the Chinese.
Okay, he's here now. So, what's this all about?
There's someone I want to introduce. Hey, hurry up.
Hold your horses. This is freaking heavy.
Yeah, great.
Junpei? Why is he here? Wait, don't tell me.
This is Junpei Iori from Class 2F. He'll be staying here as of today.
What's up?
Go away, Junpei.
Here? You've got to be kidding me.
I bumped into him the other night. He has the potential, but he just awakened to it recently. I told him about us, and he agreed to help.
You have the potential? For real?
He found me crying like a baby at the convenience store, surrounded by a bunch of coffins. I don't remember much, but man, that's embarrassing. He said that's, you know, completely normal in the beginning. Like being confused and not remembering anything. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, it didn't happen to me.
Big deal. It happens to everyone else. And man...
Are you sure it happens to everybody else and not just you, Junpei?
I had no idea. I'm glad I'm not the only one. It could get kind of lonely, you know?
Well, you know, if you go to bed at a reasonable time, Junpei, you'll never have to worry about it.
Huh? Yeah.
Well, enough with the introductions. I think we're about ready.
We're gonna go do something?
So if you look in the top right, underneath the chat display,
with this many people,
there's actually a countdown to the next full moon, which is kind of a spoiler as far as the interface goes.
Tartarus? What's that?
Because very quickly you'll realise, oh, stuff happens on full moons.
We can find
but the characters won't realise it until not the next full moon, the full moon after that.
The chairman will give us the details tomorrow night, so be ready.
Like I say, kind of an interface spoiler. So that was a Sunday wasted. Oh, better get to class. Swear to God, Junpei, go away. I don't like you.
I thought I was gonna fall asleep in there.
Can I have a minute? Come to
You can
the
have
lounge when we
Junpei.
get back to the dorm. I have something to tell everyone.
Is it that we don't actually need Junpei?
Oh, are we having that talk?
I'll save the details for later. See you there.
Alright. Bye.
Wow, she didn't waste any time leaving.
It's because nobody likes you, Junpei.
She's probably busy with things like student council, unlike us.
Ooh, Yucatan. Do I sense some hostility?
Well, it's not that I don't like her. She's just...
Aloof, cold, distant. Still better than Junpei. Do I have to go home with Junpei? Went home with Junpei in complete silence as he wouldn't shut up.
Okay, everybody's here. I'd like your undivided attention.
Yeah, where do you go, old man?
For a long time, Mitsuru and Akihiko were the only Persona users we had. But that number...
No, I don't think I have been.
Therefore...
So is it like connecting a GBA to a TV, or is the idea something like the Game Boy player on GameCube?
Sorry, I asked this yesterday, but what's this Tartarus thing again?
There's been a bunch of things I've seen with like the Vita, connecting a Vita directly to a TV, essentially like a Switch. It's like, oh yeah, no, here's my Vita, then bam, just put it in this dock and it displays on the TV.
The Dark Hour?
Just like the shadows. Interesting, huh? And it's the perfect place for us to train. You can think of it as a shadow nest.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Whoa. Their nest, huh?
But, Senpai, what about your injury?
Well, he's not coming with us, of course.
Since Akihiko hasn't fully recovered yet, he'll only come as far as the entrance.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm sure he won't complain, as long as you don't go too far in. Since we're dealing with shadows, Tartarus isn't something we can avoid.
Okay.
Relax, I've got your backs.
Sit down, Junpei.
I'm not so sure about this.
What about you, Mr. Chairman?
I'll stay here. As you know, I can't summon a persona.
We're going to Tartarus tonight. Yeah, we are. Right, so this is cool.
This is it? This is the place? Why here?
Shut up, Junpei.
Just wait a few minutes. It's almost midnight.
I love the change in the atmosphere for the dark hour. Okay.
This is Tartarus, the labyrinth that reveals itself during the dark hour.
Labyrinth? What are you talking about? What happened to our school?
Game Boy games and HD TV. Is that like directly from the console, or is it something like the Retron 5 was supposed to be, where you just plug the cartridge into a system that connects to the TV?
You don't know either?
No.
I'm sure it's complicated. Who cares anyway? It's not like it would change our minds about fighting.
Well, maybe now we'll find out. Mitsuru and I have only gone in to take a peek. This'll be our first time exploring it. Exciting,
Okay.
isn't it? There has to be some sort of clue in here about the dark hour.
Akihiko, I respect your enthusiasm, but you won't be accompanying us today.
I know, you don't have to remind me.
On the inside.
Whoa. It's just as cool on the inside.
But it sure is creepy.
This is only the entrance. The labyrinth lies beyond the doorway at the top of the stairs.
First, we'll have you three get a feel.
It's an interesting thought.
Why don't you go have a look around?
What? By
I
ourselves?
mean, the issue becomes, like, how much use are you going to get out of playing Game Boy Advance games on the TV? I mean, if you're going to do recording or streaming or something like that, or like reviews or something on YouTube, like, it'd be cool because, you know, you get the
That's right. We're also going to appoint a leader to make any necessary decisions.
you get the higher quality footage. But for just your standard person, do you really need to play it on the TV? And if you want to play it on TV, is it over, say,
You're in charge.
just emulating?
Wait, why him? He doesn't look like a leader.
Because you're worthless, Junpei. Go home.
He has fought them before.
Seriously?
That's true, but there's another reason. You two. Can you summon your persona without any difficulties like he can?
Yeah, of course I can.
I think so.
These are shadows we're talking about here. Without your persona, you're screwed.
I'm aware of that.
Hmm. Forgot that I had the velvet key. Oh, here you go. I'm guessing that's why this velvet room is an elevator.
For you. The time has come for you to.
So, in Persona 1 and both Persona 2 games, the velvet room is a room. It's just a room. In 3, 4, and 5, it takes different forms, which represents something
capable of answering these questions.
to do with the theme.
You must be made aware of the nature of your power. It leads here, although no one but you can see it. Your power is unique. It's like the number 0. It's empty, but at the same time holds infinite possibilities.
So I could do anything with it.
Are able to possess multiple personas and summon them as needed. And when you have defeated your enemies, you will see the faces of possibility before you.
So that's the big thing about the main character here.
Difficult to grasp.
Everybody else has one persona.
Seize what you have earned. Your power
The main character
accordingly. Be sure to keep that in mind.
can use many personas.
My spare time will soon be scarce. But please, come again of your own accord. I'll tell you then about my true role, the manner in which I can best assist you.
And that's how we're going to get stronger through new personas. Because like I said earlier, we don't get stronger. As we level up, what we get is the ability to use stronger personas.
Hey, are you all right?
Yeah, what's up? You look like a zombie. Don't tell me you just dozed off. You're like that coach who fell asleep during the championship game.
Yeah, listening to you puts me to sleep, Junpei.
Our leader.
Cut him some slack. If nothing's wrong, then let's get going.
Alright. Save by using the clock. Overwrite the save. Yeah, I mean, as far as the consolizer thing goes, it's cool if you want to do your physical games on TV. But like the question becomes, God, go to hell, Junpei. Like, are you really going to get enough use out of it that you couldn't just justify with emulation? Because GBA emulation's pretty solid at this point. I think GBA emulation's been perfected in some regards. Not necessarily perfected, but at a point where you're not going to notice anything. What about you, Akihiko? You realise I have like one fight under my belt. Alright, well, let's go to Tartarus. Tartarus is the main objective of most of the game, really. We're constantly pushing to get higher. And this is where we'll do most of our grinding and leveling. Yep, let's go.
So, this is it, huh?
I hope I don't get lost.
Can you all hear me?
So most of the floors of Tartarus are randomized. Some of them are always in a set pattern. Most of them are randomized.
Wait, you mean you can see inside here?
It's my persona's ability. I'd like to join you, but the structure of Tartarus changes from day to day. That's why outside
So it's
support is
randomized.
imperative.
Well,
It's
that
possible
makes
that there
me
is a
feel
set
lot
layout
better.
each day, but I don't
Your current location,
remember if that'd be a case.
they shouldn't be too tough, but proceed with caution. Practice makes perfect.
So I think for this first day, all we're doing is going through this first floor.
Why is she always like that?
Not the time, Yukari. Alright, eliminate all the shadows. So we got the map. The star effect on the map means treasure chest. The red dots are enemies. The arrow is us. The blue dots are our companions. So there's no random battles. You can send you... Okay, it's just not going to let me do it. We'll get to that later then. You need to get close and hit the enemy. And sometimes that will give you the advantage. Not always.
But nevertheless, you have minimal combat experience.
But if they hit you, they will gain the advantage.
Basics of battle?
No, I think I can do it.
Then I want you to defeat the enemy before you. Try using both the skill and attack options.
So I'm pretty sure Orpheus leveled up after the first fight, which means we do have Agi. We have Agi, which is a fire skill. So let's do it.
Yes.
Now, one thing I will really give Persona 3 Portable props for is you can control your entire party in that game. In this, you never have control over your party. You only control yourself, and your party is controlled by the AI. And for the most part, they're not bad, but they're not perfect. And that can be a problem. Like, you may want them to do specific things and they won't do them, and that can lead to problems. Personas 4, 3 Portable, and 5. By default, your party will control themselves, but you can step in and actually take active control over what they do. So Persona 4, generally what I do
Do you want to know more?
is leave them on the AI for a decent portion of the game, but take control of them for bosses. But then as we start getting further into the game, I start taking control because you start getting to more dangerous battles where a single mistake could lead to you dying. So at that point it's important no mistakes are made.
Here's our chance for an all-out
And if I make a mistake and that gets me killed, fair enough. But if the AI makes a stupid mistake that I wouldn't have made, and that gets us killed, that's irritating.
Complete victory. Great job.
When it comes down to it, it's one of the best things about Portable over 3 or 3 FES. Just around the corner. Yeah, to be fair, when I'm actually going through Tartarus, I barely look at the actual game, I'm usually just watching the map.
Were you able to exploit the enemy's weakness in the last battle? If you didn't already notice, doing so will also grant you an additional attack.
So the goal of basically every fight is to exploit weaknesses or hit a critical.
Proceed with the battle.
Because, like, we know
Roger.
that these guys are weak to fire, which I have. So we hit one with fire.
You exploited the enemy's
Makes them weak, that knocks them down and gives us one more turn. So we hit another one. Like, don't hit the one that's down, because you'll hit the weakness again, but that will just, it'll deal more damage. Hit another one. And this one's also weak to fire.
Yes. The
So now it's down, and we get another turn. So then we hit this one with fire, because it's also weak to the fire, and that'll knock it down. And we'll get another turn, but because this is the last enemy, if all the enemies are knocked down, you get the chance for an all-out attack where you hit every enemy with your party for usually a good amount of damage, unless they've got high physical defense.
Keep up the good work.
Oh, it's Persona Shuffle. This is how we get new personas. After battle, you'll occasionally have the opportunity to select a card from the one shuffled before your eyes. If you pick a card with a persona on it, then you'll receive that persona. There are other cards, each of which has a unique effect or reward. Keep an eye on the card you want and try to pick it. So what you've got is Pixie on the left, and the other three cards are the Wand, which is a minor arcana that will give us extra experience for that fight. We want Pixie because we don't have that as a persona. So now we have Pixie. And we just leveled up.
Yes! My skill level has increased!
Okay. So if we take a look at Pixie versus Orpheus. No, I don't want to do that. Details. So Pixie has lower strength but higher agility. Pixie has a healing spell, Deer. No, I want to actually get the details. No, I can't actually examine them. Okay. If you check the top there, Orpheus is weak to electricity and also darkness skills, whereas Pixie is strong against electricity and weak to nothing. So each persona has their own strengths and weaknesses, and equipping a different persona will change our strengths and weaknesses. Because at the end of the day, we have no stats of our own beyond... let me see this. Academics, Charm, and Courage. The battle stats are all what the personas have. Our stats don't change that. So that's something worth actually looking at. I can't, okay. So... can't look at it now, but Yukari and Junpei both have their own unique skills that they'll do. Not necessarily unique, but they have their own unique personas that will learn their own skills. Yukari has Io, I think it is, and at the minute it should have Dia, which is healing, and possibly Gary, which is a wind spell. Junpei, I forget what his persona is called. But it learns fire skills, if I remember correctly. Essentially, what I usually end up aiming for...
There is a better way to defeat all of your enemies in battle than to attack them.
As the person who can switch
Would you care to hear more about
personas, I try to have a party that has a diverse range of attacks, and then cover the element that they can't cover.
There may be times, however, when an escape will be impossible. This battle is one of those times. Good luck.
For example, when we get Mitsuru in the party, she uses ice attacks. So in our current party, it would be fire, ice, and wind, at which point I would aim to cover electricity, but while also being able to do as much of the other stuff as possible. Because you can switch personas freely. You can switch persona in battle, but you can only switch once per turn.
You attacked the enemy's weak point. Get him!
So if I switch to Pixie, I won't be able to switch back to Orpheus until my turn is over.
Exploited the enemy's weak point. Nice! Yes, the enemy is vulnerable.
Here's a chance. Let's get him! Get back here, you son of a...
And really, this is the entire battle system.
Good work.
It gets a little more complex as we go further and we meet more enemies, and gain more skills and abilities. But the basics of it always remain the same. You're always looking to exploit a weakness or get lucky with a critical, which will also knock an enemy down so you can perform all-out attacks. Okay, so we've already got Pixies, so what we're going to be going for this time is the sword card. And what that will do is that will give us a weapon. Imitation Katana. And I think Junpei uses katanas. This isn't a bad time to get into it, actually. In Persona 3 and Persona 3 FES, you can actually wield basically any weapon. But in Persona 3 Portable, they changed it so that you can only wield short swords, while the female protagonist, who is playable in Persona 3 Portable, wields something else. I forget what it is. It might be rapiers or it might be spears. But in 3 and 3 FES, we can wield any weapon. I'm not going to use the Imitation Katana. It's a two-handed sword. The 1 point increase in damage I don't think is worth the reduction in accuracy. Okay, so we press square and tell them to split up. Gotta be careful because they can run into enemies and they'll have to fight them on their own.
Spread out and proceed individually.
It's also worth noting that in 3 and 3 FES, they may not necessarily give you all of the items they find. Like Junpei just found an item.
This looks cool.
So we're going to head to the access point now. Then we'll get them to regroup.
Everyone, return to the leader.
And he didn't give us what he found. Is he going to give it to us as we go through the access point? Good. I think they won't always give you what they found. But I might be thinking of something else. In Persona 3 Portable, you can return to the latest floor you're at. In 3 and FES, you can only return to certain floors from the bottom. Like, directly from the bottom. Because there are checkpoints in Tartarus. And you need to actually activate them. Yeah, it's all good.
I see. Well, if you gained confidence, that's the best thing you could have achieved.
But yeah, there are certain floors which will have a different kind of access point.
But damn, I'm beat.
That's because you were bouncing around like a little kid.
Yeah, you look pretty tired yourself, Yucatan.
I'm still trying to catch my breath, actually.
That's the effect of the dark hour. You'll become fatigued more easily. Don't worry, though. You'll adapt.
Yeah, there are certain floors that have different access points, and those are access points you can return to once activated.
At this rate, they'll
but in Persona 3 Portable, you can return to the last floor you were on.
We'll see about that.
Which makes sense because there's no save point in the actual dungeon. The save point is in the lobby. So with it being a portable game, you may need to quit and save more often. So being able to just leave through an access point, save, and then go back to where you were works a lot better for it. So you think, sir? Mitsuru speaks with a little bit of French peppered in her speech every now and then. In the Japanese version, she actually spoke Japanese with bits of English peppered in. Let's see if we can go in the Velvet Room, actually. You know what? No, there's no point. As far as the personas go, what you want to do is get all of the abilities. Like, Orpheus will learn Tarunda at level 6. Pixie will learn Rakunda at level 3. What you want to do is learn every ability you can from them, and then make use of the Velvet Room. But that's going to be it for today, so let's go home. How are we feeling? Awesome, we didn't get tired. Yep, that's me. That's Junpei running his mouth. That's a weird thing to say to somebody you've just met. Especially before you introduce yourself. It's like, hey, I'm into older women. By the way, this is my name.
That concludes the main portion of today's assembly. Next, we'll hear a word from the Student Council. Please welcome the new president, Mitsuru Kirijo, from Class 3D.
Thank you.
So, she did get elected. Well, I guess she is the most popular girl in school.
You can say that again. There's like some kind of aura around her. Besides, this school's owned by the Kirijo group, right?
Yeah, I try not to think about that.
Yeah, try not to think there's probably a conspiracy that the group that owns the school has their daughter as the school president.
It is my firm belief that each of us must accept the responsibility of bettering our school. However, change cannot occur without sustained effort and an unprecedented level of commitment. That is why we must restructure our daily lives to accommodate this lofty goal. I'd like each of you to dig deeply into your well of motivation and reevaluate your convictions. To imagine a bold new future without losing sight of the realities around you. That is the key. I'm certain that many of you have your own visions of the future. For us to reap the full benefits of our education, your participation, ideas, and enthusiasm are essential.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dang, that was freaking amazing.
Why are you sat next to me?
Do you have any idea what you just said?
Yeah, she said you should shut up and go away.
Would say. If it was anyone else, we'd be laughing our asses off.
Afternoon classes. Meiji era. Close your textbooks and let's do this non-curricular thing because I'm bored of actually teaching you what I'm supposed to be teaching you. No, I'm going to stay awake and get the knowledge. Yeah. Slice of cake. Jeez. Alright, so this is a good thing because now we can actually go and do stuff. So starting today, we can actually go and do stuff after school ourselves. That's right, it's not all just going home immediately. Yeah, about the same. What's up? Oh, you already asked me this. Of course I don't notice, I only came here like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you. 23rd, huh? Track team, kendo team, swim team. You know, each of those could be worth checking out if they boosted my stats in any way, but they won't. Just for social links. Yes. And the student council room. Thank you. It's very friendly of you. PA room, which I don't think we ever go in. I wonder, are there any social links we can actually start now? Oh, so let's use the bathroom. Excellent. Your condition affects how you perform in Tartarus. If you're good, then you know, you're pretty standard. If you're great, you'll be hitting criticals more often and avoiding enemy attacks more often. If you're tired, then you're more likely to miss, and if you miss, that's a problem because you'll slip and you'll lose a turn for that. And you'll also take critical damage more often. You know, I'm gonna head to town, see if there's any social links I can do. And if you're tired but don't actually get any rest for it, you'll become sick.
Where? Oh, there he is!
Have you noticed how popular Akihiko-san is with the ladies?
We're not friends, Junpei. You're not allowed to just come up to me and talk to me.
I didn't used to talk to him much, but now I've got a good excuse. I know he's the captain of the boxing team, but who would have thought he'd be such a chick magnet? I mean, come on.
So you can probably guess like that. Guess from that that Akihiko is going to use his fists as a weapon.
Wait for us!
Hey, are you guys free this afternoon?
Oh, that's right. We actually have stuff to do today. So even though we can explore, we're not actually gonna.
Bologna Mall. You know where it is, right? I'll be at the police station. See you there.
The police station? You mean we're not hanging out with your friends?
Who, these girls? I don't even know their names. They talk so much they give me a headache. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. Don't keep me waiting.
Sega-san, you know, I'd consider it, honestly. Depending on...
That's what makes him
let's say 3 things. Depending on the controller, the quality of the emulation,
Seriously, just look at them.
and the games that are on it.
Oh, well, let's go.
Because there's not many Saturn games I'd be interested. Yeah, exactly. Panzer Dragoon Saga, definitely. Just all 3 Panzer Dragoon games. Although I'd be very surprised if they put the first one on there with the remake coming out. But yeah, go away. Ugh. Yeah, Panzer Dragoon, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, Panzer Dragoon Saga, definitely. Burning Range is an interesting one. I wouldn't mind playing Knights in its original form. Sonic Jam would be a lot of fun, because I played that as a kid. I mentioned that, I think, during the... might have been when I was streaming Sonic Mania, or during the Sonic 1 LP, but I did mention it at some point. Sonic Jam was like the only Sega Saturn game I played as a kid. But like beyond that, what is there on Saturn? Like the Saturn version of Resident Evil would be kind of interesting, but you know, as really just speaking as a Resident Evil fan, and the first game isn't one I go back to that often. Let's just get this done with, so jump here, leave me alone. If it ends up, if it is a thing and it comes out and ends up like say the Super Nintendo Mini or the NES Mini or even the PlayStation Mini, where it gets hacked and then you can just play those games through that emulation, and it's great. In that case, you know, totally be interested, because
really
expanding my horizons with the Saturn would be really cool, especially in a smaller form factor.
You can't fight him, so find something you like.
Spend some time with the Japanese-only Sega Saturn version of Symphony of the Night, which I really want to experience myself, despite all the problems with it.
Of course they do. Nothing in life is free.
I realize that.
Well,
I'll see you later. Thanks again.
It'd be really good for some of the fighters on there. Like, it has some of the best versions of some of the 2D fighters, like X-Men: Children of the Atom, Marvel superheroes.
My job is to maintain peace in this city.
And stuff like that.
I'm just
but beyond that, like, there's not that much I'm aware of on the Saturn.
Something strange is going on here. I'm only doing what I think is right.
Shining Force is interesting. I always forget how many Shining Force games there are. There's Shining Force 1 and 2 on Mega Drive. Shining Force CD, which I usually forget about, that is... Yeah, I want to stick with the one-handed swords. Shining Force CD, which is a it's a remake / compilation of the 2 Shining Force games that were on the Game Gear. Shining Force 3 was the Sun. Yeah. And then there's the other Shining games, the Shining Force Neo and Shining Force EXA on PS2, which were not released in Europe. But I think they're not tactical games anyway. Alright, so now we can actually explore. So let's head down here. Get this done. So this is how we find the Velvet Room outside of Tartarus. Because if you're going into Tartarus, you do it at night, and like that's your night. Because you go into Tartarus, you can't do anything at night. Well, I mean, there's other stuff like the 2 Clockwork Knight games would be kind of interesting, I guess, and Astal, Silhouette Mirage is supposed to be better on Saturn than it is on PlayStation. And there's the Saturn version of Mega Man 8, which I'm still disappointed Capcom didn't put on the Mega Man Legacy Collection 2. Like, the fact that it's just a PlayStation version is really disappointing. But then all the fact they didn't put Mega Man and Bass on there is really disappointing. Yeah, I know for a fact the Saturn version of House of the Dead is actually a pretty poor port. It's also awkward because it's, I think, like one of only 2 home versions of the original House of the Dead, because it's weird, House of the Dead hasn't really been re-released. So what we do in the Velvet Room is Persona Fusion. I also can't check the compendium. Alright. Yeah, it was a light gun game, but even if you had like the light gun that went with the Sega Saturn, the port of House of the Dead was actually really poor. It's not just like low quality models and stuff. There are load times that really kill the game in really bad ways. It's got some neat features, but ultimately it has some serious problems. Let's see, I want Iwatodai, I'm pretty sure. Is it Iwatodai I want? I want to go at the strip mall. Yes. Check out the bookshop. Open on 25th. Yeah, so we can't do a bunch of stuff until later on. So in that case, I think what we'll do is see about heading back to school and see if we can use the library. But yeah, I'd be interested in a Sega Saturn Mini, but the price would have to be decent, the emulation would have to be good, and it would have to have a decent selection of games that would catch my interest. And as it is, like, the number of games, as far as I'm aware of, as somebody who's kind of only marginally aware of the Saturn, it really does seem like a lot of the best Saturn games were Japan only. And while you could do what Konami's doing with the PC Engine Mini, this is the library. It's like, I can't go in the library, god damn it. Can't do anything yet. Like the PC Engine Mini that Konami's releasing has a bunch of Japanese only games on it. It's like that's gonna have Akumajo Dracula X Shino Rin, which is Rondo of Blood, the original Rondo of Blood for the PC Engine Super CD. That wasn't released outside Japan, so it's in Japanese. I think there's gonna be other stuff that's only in Japanese. I mean, that limits your appeal, but you know, you also have to remember that some of the best stuff for that system was only in Japanese.
Welcome back.
What's up? You alright? So that's how we go to Tartarus. We talk with Mitsuru. And if Mitsuru's not here, which she won't be some days, we can't go to Tartarus. Albert Odyssey. I feel like that rings a bell, but I could not honestly tell you about it. There was a point where I was looking into a bunch of Saturn stuff with the thought, will I actually get one? And I just never did. Well, actually, because, like, a lot of the stuff is collecting for it, just getting games for it is expensive. And a lot of the stuff you need to do is import. Alright, so we talk with Yukari. So it's worth keeping an eye on everybody's status, because you can take them into Tartarus while they're tired, you don't want to. So let's check everybody's status. Alright, good. Okay, so she's good. Okay, so she only has Deer at the minute. She'll learn Patra, which is good, and probably Garo after that. She's weak to electricity, strong to wind. Junpei's good. He has Cleave, he'll learn Agi soon. Alright. Do I have to give them new equipment in Tartarus? I forget how to do this on FES. Because in 3 Portable, you can just do it through your menu. It's so much simpler. Okay, we talked to him to change the equipment. So we got a new bow for Yukari. Didn't we? Did we buy a bow that she already had? Did I sell the bow that I bought like an idiot? Because I wasn't paying that much attention. I feel like I probably did, didn't I? And good work, me. Yes. Right, so let's head into Tartarus. We should be able to head higher this time. Yep. Barricade a few floors up. Barriers seem to be in fixed locations. Try and reach the first barricade. It's worth noting that after the first full moon, that barricade will disappear. What you want to do really is hit each barricade before the next full moon. It's tricky to do, and it requires a good amount of work to actually get there before the full moon, but you'll get rewards for it.
2 enemies detected.
Okay, so these are new enemies.
Roger. I'll attempt to
What I'm going to do is throw down an Agi, see how that works. They're not weak to it.
Please hit! Jeez, that one's...
She missed.
Yuri has defeated an enemy.
Okay.
Last one.
So one of the benefits of a bow is if you miss, you're not going to slip up and fall. If you miss with a melee weapon, you will slip and fall.
It seems to have multiple weaknesses.
There we go. So you can press L1 to ask Mitsuru to check the weaknesses of an enemy. The strengths and weaknesses. It's weak to ice, lightning, and wind. We have none of those at the minute. Generally, what's also supposed to happen is once you know an enemy's strengths and weaknesses, the AI is supposed to deliberately attempt to target those weaknesses while avoiding what the enemies are strong to. How effective that is, we'll find out as we go.
2 enemies detected. Strike. Roger.
These are the cowardlies, but we know these are weak to fire, but what I'm going to do is let the...
Great attack. Awesome. One more.
let the analysis come through so they'll learn.
Couldn't defeat it.
Or not.
Who's the man?
Because the analysis takes like 3 turns to come through. Okay, so the coin arcana gives us more money. So we gain more money for the fight. Chest there. Generally, it's worth taking out every enemy you find, unless you're really starting to run low on stuff.
Roger. I'll attempt to analyze.
Okay, so I don't know what that guy can do, so what I'm going to do is take these 2 out.
Yes, excellent attack.
Awesome.
That way we don't have to worry about them if I don't manage to finish off the guy in the back.
Enemy down. There's only one left.
Get him.
Not weak to fire.
Please hit. This thing won't give up.
Not weak to pierce. Not weak to slash. Okay, so I'll go with a coin again. And chest. Money.
One enemy detected. Strike.
Okay, so just this guy who we found was
It seems to have multiple.
weak to everything except what we've got.
Lame.
So I think the thing with the bow as well is it misses more often. But like, if you miss, you don't fall down like Junpei just did.
What a stunning.
It's less accurate, but you don't have the fear of what happens when you miss. And it only really matters for Yukari and yourself at the minute. Because at the minute we can also use a bow, but we're just not gonna. I think for now we're gonna stick with short swords. I find them fairly reliable. There's the stairs.
One enemy detected. Strike. Roger. I'll attempt to analyze the enemy.
Alright.
That was easy.
Going back to the PSP version, as I've mentioned before,
3 enemies detected. Strike first.
there are a bunch of downgrades on the PSP version because it's on the PSP. Dungeon navigation works pretty much the same way
Couldn't defeat it.
as it does here. Dungeon navigation has not been downgraded at all. It's weak to ice and wind. Alright.
Please hit. I couldn't defeat it.
You evaded the enemy's attack.
Nice.
Defeated an enemy.
One more.
Damn it.
This thing won't give up.
Can't lose.
Okay, so this is going to be a critical. And it's done. So yeah, dungeon navigation is pretty much the same in the PSP version, it's just like this. You still run around like this, you still do all this. There's the access point, want to head back for the stairs. So while you navigate the overworld via the map on the PSP version, and there's no anime cutscenes, the presentation is like a visual novel, the actual main brunt of the gameplay itself, the dungeons, play the same. Yeah, I think we can keep going for a little while longer. We seem doing okay. Okay, 3 cowardlies.
Don't get careless.
One of the most important things to really get a handle on with the battles is SP conservation versus health.
Defeated. Good job.
You want battles to be over as quickly as possible. Seriously? You want battles to be over as quickly as possible. But you don't want to waste SP. Orpheus level up? Yep. Okay, so Agi will be stronger now because we gained 2 points in magic.
Detected. Strike first.
Okay, so we'll take these 2 out and then I'll focus on the other guy.
Yes, excellent attack. One more. Another enemy down. There's only one left. One more.
And then just do standard attacks, because we should be able to take this guy out in a single turn between us. There we go. Without having to use any SP on it. Now, early on, you can't actually go in Tartarus for that long before your characters will get tired. And as we mentioned before, when they get tired, you've got a problem.
Strike first.
Because they'll hit less often. I don't think they hit as hard. Like, I'm pretty sure the crit rate goes down. And they'll take more criticals from enemies.
Last one.
So you don't want to be running around doing stuff while your characters are tired.
Who's the man?
And when they're tired, the only thing you can do to get rid of it is leave. And so, like I say, at the beginning of the game,
Enemies detected. Strike first.
you'll get tired fairly quickly.
The enemy is down. Keep attacking.
Awesome.
But as you go further in the game, it'll take longer and longer to get tired. Until, like, by about halfway through the game, you're probably not leaving Tartarus because you're tired.
This is not good.
Okay, there you go. Yukari's tired now. Which means we probably want to avoid battles now. Also, be careful about your party getting too far behind you if they get caught up on scenery. Because I have had it before where I've entered a battle and my party got caught up on scenery and didn't enter the battle with me. I didn't even notice that guy. Damn it.
An assault by 2 enemies. Stand strong.
Okay, we're going to be leaving soon, so let's just use the SP.
Only one more.
Last one.
Gotta be brave. This isn't good. Your help.
Hang in there.
One enemy remains. Keep up the good work.
Man, I'm beat.
Iori is fatigued.
And now Junpei's tired, so that's not great. That's worrying. The Wanda Arcana has a skull over it and a dark aura around it. If we pick that, the Reaper's gonna start showing up on this floor, which is a bad thing. We're gonna show it off. Get the extra experience, try and find the exit before the Reaper shows up. Effectively, the Reaper's a super boss. And not something that I want to be running into at this point in the game. Or really at pretty much any point in the game. So if we start hearing chains rattling, like that's going to be the big indicator that he's almost here. Alright, not that he's almost here, that he's actually on the floor searching for us. If you take too long on a floor, there's no access point on this floor. If you take too long on a floor, the Reaper will show up. What the cursed card, we call them cursed cards, the curse card does is speeds that up. I want to avoid everybody here until we find the access point now. There it is. There's a thing here though, in FES. It might have been in the original Persona 3. But when you return to the lobby, you're fully healed. Portable changes that because you can return to the lobby and then go right back to the floor you were on. So you could use that to easily just cheese your way through a lot of the stuff. Now we could go back in without the others. Not the best idea, but we could do it. And if the others weren't tired, we could come back down here and then go right back in, and we've got full health and stamina and stuff like that. Full health and SP. And we can just keep going until we get tired. The downside of doing that is, like, we leave, and now when we go back in, we're back at the start. And like I say, with the original 3 and with FES, you can only go back into Tartarus through the start and the checkpoints, which are specific access points that only appear on certain floors. They're not randomized, they'll always appear on certain floors. So have I become tired? No longer in great condition, but I'm not tired, that's good. But since Yukari and Junpei were both tired, it's possible they'll be tired today, so it may not be worth going to Tartarus again tonight. Because they may either still be tired or just outright sick. Yeah, going back to the Sega Saturn. At the very least, interested is my ultimate takeaway. Had to see what they do with it. I mean, Sega has some solid IPs. How many of them actually came out on the Saturn is a question. Because I don't really, like I say, I'm not really overly in with the Saturn as far as a lot of the old systems go. But like, Sega makes use of the first party stuff, isn't afraid to just outright put stuff like Sonic Jam on there, because Sonic Jam I still think is like the best Sonic compilation of the original games, with the exception of CD. Well, if they do that, if they're not afraid to really dig in there with the library, and if they can get some decent third-party stuff, I mean, chances are, like I mentioned, the stuff like X-Men Children of the Atom and Marvel Superheroes earlier, chances are you're never going to get that, because you have to go through both Capcom and Marvel. And Marvel ain't the friendliest people with the licenses, especially these days. So that's kind of a shame. I mean, yeah, if it ends up at the point where you can do what happened with the Super Nintendo and the NES Mini, you can put more games on there, then you know that from me. But you know, we'd have to see. Also, you need to be careful in Persona 3 of what you are doing during your social links. You need to hang out with your social links regularly, and you need to be careful what you say, because in Persona 3 and FES, it's possible to reverse your social links and have the rank go down, and it's possible to break the social links and just lose the benefits of it entirely. Which ain't great. That's something they took out of Persona 3 Portable, and it doesn't appear in 4 or 5. But yeah, no, I'd be interested in the Saturn. You have to see what they do with it. honestly really surprised Nintendo hasn't really gone more in with this mini console idea because of just how well it worked out for them. Like, the NES Mini was a massive success to ridiculous proportions, so was the Super Nintendo. And people were interested in the PlayStation Mini until they revealed everything about it. And the details came out that it was actually really just not that good. Not just the game selection, but the emulation and like using the PAL versions of certain games so they ran slower. So, you know, that's something. But like, I'm surprised Nintendo hasn't really gone more in with it, like a dedicated handheld that plays Game Boy games, but has a rechargeable battery and backlight. I mean, there's already a market for these things, like, not necessarily something like the, like a third-party clone, like the GB Boy, or something like that. Something like the NES Super Nintendo Mini, one that has the form factor, preferably the form factor of the Pocket, because we don't need to go back to the original, really don't. But, you know, has the games built in. There's some decent games. And in particular, like, people were really hoping for a Nintendo 64 Mini, which they just haven't done. Which is a shame, because, like, yeah, there's not much third-party stuff worth really going for. Yeah, Sony barely bothered with that. I'm kind of debating picking up a PS1 Mini to see what can be done with it. But is there a point? I mean, yeah, I mean, we've had the discussion before of it looks nice on a shelf, and that's true. But so the other two aren't doing that great. Alright. So no point going Tartarus tonight. But yeah, like, I've heard the hardware itself that's actually in the PS Mini should be capable of playing PlayStation games properly, and they just haven't got it sorted. But I've kind of I took a probably more of a quick look into the PS1 Mini stuff and the stuff that's been done with it through external means. And there is stuff you can do. Like, people have put other games on it. The most important thing, one of the most important things I've seen with it, is people, because the controller ports, unlike the NES and Super Nintendo Minis, the controller ports are USB. They're not some proprietary crap, they're USB, so you can plug stuff in. So I've seen people plugging in like Bluetooth receivers and using DualShock 4s on them, which is really nice, because then you have analog support. Seriously, Sony, what the hell are you doing? Why the hell did you release this thing and not put Ape Escape on it? That's your game, Sony. But club open? Yes, it is. Alright. The old man isn't here. Is there anything we can actually do yet? Yeah, sure, what do you got? Okay. Actually, let's go to the police station and see if we can get any new weapons. How much money do we have? That's not bad. But yeah, the main thing I'm interested in, nobody's here. Alright, fair enough. What about the cafe? So this will raise our charm. So let's do it. So throughout the year, you want to be raising your social stats anyway. The main thing I want to really get an idea of is through an external emulator put on the PS Mini. How effective is it at playing PS1 games? Can it play some of the really tricky stuff like Dragon Warrior 7? Does it have a broad range? How difficult is it to do? Is it worth doing? Let's study actually, because I'm not feeling tired. So if you're tired, you want to go to bed early, and that will cure you. If you don't, you're gonna end up sick, and that means you've got longer until you can go to Tartarus. Now I'm tired. God damn it. So that was bad luck. But yeah, particularly with how cheap they're selling Cold Worsen, because I'm tired now. I'm sick now. God damn it. See, I want to see what can be done with it. Because, like, yeah, they're really cheap, but I'm just going to pick one up to have one. Oh, yeah, no, we can join an athletic club now. Cool. So, yeah, if I do pick one up, I'll let you know the results of it. And we'll see how that goes. It's a shame, because it was a good idea, and Sony dropped the ball in basically every way for it. So if a character has a exclamation mark above the head like this, you can hang out with them for the social link. Social link isn't going to increase every time you do. You know, there is actually one benefit to being sick, and that's that we can go and see the nurse. So we can't see the nurse when we're not sick. Okay, so the nurse's office should be past the faculty office, if I remember rightly. Should be like right back on the left. Here we go. So what this will do is there's usually a benefit for this. Usually, I think sometimes it'll just not do anything. So we'll drink it. See what this gets us. So my courage has increased for that. So you know, that's something. And like I say, we can only visit the nurse when we're sick. So I think what we're going to do now actually is No, I want to actually join one of the teams, and I forget where I do that. Is it here? I'm trying to think about it, and it's in the other building, I think. The practice building. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'll let you know. It's like you say, Sony had one job, and it should have been so simple. I think part of the issue is, like, we take out the problems Sony had themselves with it, and part of the issue begins with a lot of a lot of the games on PS1 have been re-released on modern systems. It's like Symphony of the Night was probably never going to be on there. Konami re-released it on PS4 not that long. Okay, so that's Swim. I think that's Kendo. And this is Track. Let's go with Kendo. Yeah. So I'm surprised they got Final Fantasy 7 since it's actually on PS4 as it is. Well, a lot of the stuff they weren't going to get. It's kind of sad that they didn't get Tomb Raider, any of the Tomb Raiders. But there's a whole list of stuff that they should have had. There's no way, because they said 20 games, there's no way you could get all the good stuff for the PS1 in 20 games. Now, fun fact, it doesn't matter which of the athletics team you join. Because there's only 2 characters in the teams that matter, and that's Yuko and Kazushi, and they're both in whichever team you join. And the social links work out the same. All it changes is the background of where the social links go down. Square will re-release it every chance they get. But there was loads of stuff like no Tomb Raider, no Resident Evil 2. They had the director's cut, which, yeah. But let's be fair, if you're picking any of the Resident Evils on PS1, it's 2. I mean, 2 is toss-up between 2 or 3, but mostly 2. Director's cut, yeah, sure, Resident Evil there for the thing, but yeah. I forget a lot of the stuff they had. They had Tekken 3, which was good. It's like the first re-release of Tekken 3 since Tekken 5 on PS2, because Tekken 5 had the arcade versions of Tekken, Tekken 2 and Tekken 3 as a bonus. So that was cool, but it was the PAL version, so it ran slower. And then the emulation wasn't great to begin with, so it ran worse. Broken Sword is an interesting... Parasite Eve I'll agree with. Parasite Eve. There's another Square game, I feel like. Ironhander wouldn't have been a bad idea. I feel like there's another Square game. Broken Sword is kind of particularly because the PS1 version is like one of the weakest versions of it, and it's mostly because of the load times. Yeah, so the bomb misses more often and doesn't hit as hard as a melee weapon. But if you miss, you don't fall down. Devil Dice is interesting. Parappa the Rapper, not so much. I was never really into it. Devil Dice is an interesting choice. And again, it brings up the point, like, there's so much on the PS1 worth doing. Narrowing it down to 20 games is damn near impossible. But we're sick, so we're gonna go to bed early. Get some rest. Yeah, I've got some personal favourites that I would have liked to see on there. Like Ironhander. I'm surprised they didn't have, like I mentioned, Ape Escape, because they own Ape Escape. Ape Escape is Sony's IP. But I think we were both kind of surprised that they didn't put Legend of Dragoon on there, because again, it's a Sony IP. Yeah, that would have been the better idea. Give it maybe expandable memory and link it to the PSN. Because at that point you're not having to license new stuff, and there's plenty of stuff on PSN for it. You got your choice of the Final Fantasies, like you can go with Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9. Tactics if you have the US PSN. Let's talk in particular about the US PSN. Like you can get Origins 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tactics. You can get both Parasite Eve games. You can get both Dino Crisis games. You can get 2 Tomba games. Like Tomba 2 I really like. Both released as Tombi over here for some reason. It was a weird thing with Tomba 2 actually for a while. The US version, the US store, had the Japanese version of Tomba 2 for some reason, but the European store had the US version. I think by this point they have actually put the US version on the US store, but it was a weird thing they had for a while. Yeah, let me check my condition. Alright, feeling better. Good. So we can talk to Kenji and do his social link, or we can talk to Kazushi. I'm going to do Kazushi for today. If they come up to you during lunch, that usually means that your social link will progress if you hang out with them. There's loads of stuff on PS1 Lite. Bugs Bunny Lost in Time is an old favourite of mine. Gran Turismo is something that a lot of people were into, and if licenses back for the cars to re-release it, that'd be something a lot of people would do. Ridge Racer. I think they had the first Ridge Racer on the PS1 Classic, and the entire question of that is, why the original? Why not Type 4? Even today, Ridge Racer Type 4 is one of the best arcade racers. PlayStation Store has the PS1 version of Star Wars Dark Forces, which is a fun little Star Wars game. What else do I have? Legacy of Kain, both Blood Omen and Soul Reaver. There was so much they could have done with it. Like I say, give you a way to link to the PSN store and get some games off that, and you don't have to relicense these games anymore. You've just given people a new way to play it, which was essentially what happened when the PSP got PS1 Classic support and the Vita got PS1 Classic support. You're not reselling these games, you're just giving people another platform to play them on. You could have put Symphony of the Night on there, and also Castlevania Chronicles. Oh, what's up, Yukon? So one problem I definitely have with Persona 3 compared to 4 and 5, you cannot level up a social link with a female, with a female classmate, without romancing them, and that's a big problem. Because sooner or later they'll find out you're romancing more than one person, but you can't level up the social links without doing that. And like I say, your social links can reverse or even break in 3, and it's a big problem. Persona 3 Portable had a neat little way of dealing with that. When it gets to Valentine's Day, every girl you're romancing wants to go out with you on Valentine's Day. And what happens is, in Persona 3 Portable, your friends will distract all of them so they don't realise you're dating all of them. But it's really irritating. You can't just date one and be friends with the others, which you can do in Persona 4 and Persona 5. Yeah, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to head to Tartarus. Let's check everyone's status. Everyone good to go? Yep. Awesome. So let's head to Tartarus, and I think we'll call it a session there, actually. We have been going for around 3 hours. A little under 3 hours because we started a bit late, but it's round about right. I got nothing to do in the Velvet Room yet. We're still only on 2 personas. So I think that's going to do it for today, everybody. This has been Persona 3 FES. If you're interested, definitely recommend checking out, picking up for yourself. Like I say, easiest way to get it these days is probably a PS3. You can get it as a PS2 Classic. I think it goes for £8 or $10, depending on whether you're in the US or Europe. Whether you're in the US or the UK. Not sure how much it'd go for in euros. You can also pick up the PSP version, which is available digitally if you can't find the physical version. And that'll play on PSP and Vita, and possibly PSTV. I'm not sure about the PSTV. Yeah. But we may be back with more Persona 3 at some point. I quite enjoyed this. The issue is, like, this isn't... We've gone for 3 hours or so, and we've barely scratched the surface. This is a long game. So we may be back with more Persona 3, we'll see. See what the future holds. Never say never. Because to begin with, the original point of the stream was for RPGs. It's just, it's very draining to do these games for such a long period. Like, yeah, no, let's play nothing but Persona 3 until I finish it. Persona 3 for like next 3 months. Ugh. Yeah, no, that'll be it for tonight's stream. Thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate all the support for everybody who joined at any point. Special thanks to Bane for keeping company in the chat as always. Really appreciate that, buddy. We'll be back on Sunday at 8 PM GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. Not sure what we'll be doing. Like I said, we could continue this, we could continue Skies of Arcade, we could do something else. Not sure, honestly, we'll see. Just a quick little update on the Dreamcast stuff, because we were talking about Dreamcast stuff last time. The VGA stuff is set up. I have the VGA set up and ready to go. Discovered about 5 minutes before I was about to start streaming that the Elgato that I'm using to stream will not support the VGA output. And it's not like, okay. So what I do is, with almost every one of my systems at this point, I have a HDMI converter for almost everything that doesn't use HDMI. Because we got stuff like there's the Wii U, there's the PlayStation, there's the Wii U, there's the PS4, the PS3, the 360, the PS TV, which we sometimes go through. They are the Switch. They all go through HDMI natively. We have an HDMI adapter on the PS2. That's how we get in this nice, really clean look. Honestly, I think Persona 3 looks really nice like this. Not sure how well it's coming through on the stream, but for me on my TV, it's really clean. Really recommend it, honestly. With the Nintendo 64, what we've been doing is trying so far to what we've got is an S video cable hooked up to a HDMI converter. I think it's actually a HDMI upscaler. Well, it's really nice, and on the TV display's really nice. The only reason we haven't streamed that is there's an issue with the sound where the sound is only coming through the right channel, which has been a problem. Yeah, and I've not figured out how to fix that yet. With the Dreamcast, what we've been aiming to do is I have my today. Got the Dreamcast connected to a VGA box, which has a VGA cable coming out of it, hooked up to a HDMI converter, which is then plugged into the TV. And on the TV, looks really nice. I'm very happy with it. Want to spend a bit more time with it actually, because I've not really spent too much time. Because the HDMI converter I got actually arrived broken. I want to give super special thanks to my father for actually breaking it open and fixing it. A component had actually come loose, it seemed, in transit. So super special thanks to my father for breaking it open and fixing it for me. So sit down, getting set up to stream, because it was fixed like 10 minutes before stream time today. So it's like, oh great, it's working. Okay, now hook it all up through the stream, hook it into the Elgato, the HDMI, VGA into the HDMI converter into the Elgato, bam. Coming through on the screen, oh, the Elgato capturing software says it doesn't support 640 by 480. Despite the fact that if it's taking an SD signal, it has the option. See if I can look at this option here. No, I can't. It can convert, I think it's 720 by 480 and 720 by 576, which are both SD signals. It can just straight convert those into 640 by 480, which is a 480p resolution. But for some reason it can't support an actual 480p. Which is the main reason we haven't done Dreamcast today, because the Elgato, I learned at the very last minute, will not support the VGA output even though it's going through a converter. So the big solution for that, it looks like, is not a converter, a HDMI upscaler, to upscale it into, say, 720p. And then the Elgato will receive that, so we'll see about that. That'll have to be something for the future. And that's the reason we weren't doing Dreamcast today, even though the intention was to do Dreamcast. It's a shame. Not sure what I would have done. I'm in the mood to go through Resident Evil 2 again, but I really shouldn't go through Resident Evil 2 again for the stream. For myself, yeah, sure, but for the stream, we've already done it a few times. So that was irritating, learned that in the last minute. But hopefully in the future we will get the VGA sorted and get it going through. Like I say, it looks really nice on the TV. I'm very happy with it. I actually spend some more time in-game. Hopefully enjoy it. And the cool, convenient thing about the VGA box that I've got is it connects into the Dreamcast, and then it has two outputs. It has a VGA output, and it has an S-video output. So for the games that just don't support VGA, like Dino Crisis is the main one I can think of off the top of my head. Dreamcast port of Dino Crisis does not support VGA. So for stuff like that, I can just flick a switch on the VGA box and with then sending a signal through the S-video. Which, like, S-video itself is nicer than composite. So, you know, that's great. It's really convenient. And I've already got the S-video converter for the 64, so great. Cool stuff. But yeah, I rambled on a bit with that. When the intention was really just to explain why we haven't done Dreamcast, when the intention was to do Dreamcast. But yeah, once again, special thanks to Bane in the chat for keeping me company, really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who joined me for the stream, always appreciate the support. We'll be back 8 PM GMT on Sunday. No idea what we'll be doing. Persona 3 tonight was a very last minute decision, but we've had fun. I hope if you've watched this, you've gotten some interest for Persona 3. I hope you pick it up and enjoy it yourself. It's a really good game. If you're going to play Persona, any of the Persona games, the easiest one to pick up at the minute is 5. Although at the minute, if you're interested in 5, it's probably worth holding out for Royal, which is due out sometime next year. Which leaves you with 4 and 3. If you're going to do 3, FES or Portable. If you are a beginner to RPGs, Portable is the one you want to go with. It's a lot more it's a lot friendlier in a lot of its regard. 4, you can go with either 4 on PS2 or 4 Golden on PS Vita. Both are really solid. Golden has some extra stuff. It's not essential. There's an extra social link, there's some new personas. There's an extra event, an extra hidden dungeon, an extra boss. But the original game was fine as it was, so there's not so much you have to worry about there. Either or, really. You don't have to worry about it, though it's worth noting that Golden is easier than 4. So again, if you're a beginner, Golden may be the one you want to go for. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's stream. We're back at 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time, GMT on Sunday. I want to thank everybody for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night and take care.